my question for you ladies today is, would you allow your husband to bring in a hot nanny that he calls a perfect nanny? We don't know. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lulutando Ngosi, and I'm so glad that you've decided to join me once again on this Monday crime mystery. And by the title of this video, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about the perfect nanny. But before we get into this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and become part of my family. So this story is shocking. It's a bit weird. It's all types of eyebrow raising type of thing. So yeah, let's get into this video. I don't want it to be long like the other previous videos, so let's get into this video. So Michelle Summers, who is the wife in the story, was a beautiful girl, beautiful woman. You know, she was raised very well. She was very polite, very smart. You know, she was prim, she was proper. She was a beautiful girl. You know, she even entered pageants. She won pageants. She was that type of girl. And then she met Martin McNeil. So Martin McNeil was a doctor. He was very smart. You know, he knew what he was doing. He was very respected in his work field. He was Michelle Summers and Martin McNeil got married when they were 21 years old. I'm not sure if it was just Michelle who was 21, but Michelle was 21 years old. And they got married and they started having kids immediately. So they bought a house and they started having kids. They had 8 children, 5 of their own and 3 adopted from the Ukraine. So it's a normal life, it's an ordinary life with their 8 kids, beautiful house, beautiful suburb, beautiful everything, until Martin reaches 50. So now Martin is 50 and he gets really obsessed with his physical image. He's starting to work out, he's going to the gym, he's doing his tanning, you know, he goes to tanning salons and all of that. So now he's really focused on his physical image. Would even have like a conversation and start by doing jumping jacks, like, hey, how you doing, Martin? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, 3, 2, and even do like push-ups, and just he was so obsessed with his physical image. He was staying out at night, he was just doing really weird things. And Michelle decided, you know what, I'm gonna confront this man. So she goes to Martin and she says, Martin, listen, you are acting very weird. You're so obsessed with your physical image. You are really weird. You're even staying out at night. Where are you at night? Because you don't work at night, so where do you go? And so he just brushes it off and says, no babe, no, come on, like, I'm just like trying to, you know, I'm old now, I just want to still look young and all of that. And then he says, maybe you should also consider doing this. And Michelle says, what do you mean? And Martin says, well, maybe you should consider getting a facelift. Really? A facelift? A facelift. Yeah, maybe you should consider getting a facelift. So they go back and forth, and Michelle was not having it. She was 100% against it. Until she was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should. You know, I am getting older. I am just like not myself anymore, so maybe I should just get a facelift. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? And so Martin says, awesome, I'll set it up. And because he's a doctor, he knows people that know people that know people. So their oldest daughter she is studying medicine. So she's in med school in Las Vegas, Nevada. Is it Nevada? Yeah. So she goes there and that's where she goes to school. So Martin says, okay, because next week Alexis is coming back home, why don't I book this appointment for you, this surgery for you, so that Alexis can take care of you? And so Michelle is like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. She's in med school, she knows all of these things, you know, it's perfect. So good shot. Martin does the appointment for the surgery, and next week the surgery is being done. And so Michelle does the surgery and she finishes the surgery. And the weird part about this is Martin said to the surgeon that was doing the surgery, that maybe he must up the dosage. You know, he must prescribe more painkillers and up the dosage. So if it was supposed to be 2 pills per day, he must be 3 or 4 pills a day. So because Martin is respected in this field of work, no one suspected anything. No one questioned him, and they just gave him those pills. And so Martin took Michelle home and gave her these pills. And so when Alexis came back home, she sees her mom like, no man, something's wrong here. What is going on? And she tries to talk to her mom, but because she's so heavily sedated, she couldn't speak. She couldn't say anything. So Alexis says, okay, maybe I'll wait for her, you know, wait until she wakes up so I can talk to her. So after 24 hours, Michelle wakes up and now she can speak, although she's still tired and like sedated a little, but she can now communicate. And so Alexis asks her, like, what's up, Mama, you okay? She says, your dad just kept giving me a lot of pills. And Alexis is saying, but how? Like, this man is a doctor. He should know better, you know? So Alexis goes and confronts her dad and says, you know what, Dad, I don't like what you're doing. How could you do this to Mom? And then Dad, she threw up. So I thought maybe she threw up the pills. So I gave her more pills. And it was like, don't do it again, okay? Like, just leave it. I'll handle it. I'll take care of Mom, okay? So Martin says, you know what? Maybe you should just go back to school. You know, I don't want you slacking behind. I don't want you getting low marks because of this. I'll take care of Mom. You can go. And so Alexis says, you know what? No, I'm not going. I'm staying. I'm going to take care of Mom. So one day, Alexis is washing her mom's hair, you know, just taking care of her. And Michelle says, Alexis, if anything happens to me, just make sure it's not your dad. What? No ways, Mom. What do you mean? She just laughs it off and says, Mom, Dad will never do anything to you. He loves you so much. So the next day, Alexis leaves and she goes back to school because now she needs to go back to school. And now there's a 911 phone call from Martin telling, he's frantic, like, my wife is in the tub, please help, what must I do? And then he hangs up. And it's like, how? This person, we're trying to help you, why are you hanging up? And then he calls again. My wife, she's in the tub, she can't breathe, what's happening? Help me, help me. And then he hangs up again. And then he calls again. He hung up 3 times, this man. And so there was their daughter, their youngest daughter. Martin says to this young daughter, hey, just go next door and find someone that can help me take your mom out of this tub. And so the young daughter goes, she knocks next door. Hey, my dad needs you. Something's wrong with my mom. Can you please come help me? So this woman rushes next door and she gets there and she sees this woman laying in the tub. And it's like, what is going on? So Martin looks at her and is like, hey, no, I don't want a woman. I need a man to help me, to take out this woman out of this tub. And so this woman runs back next door and calls her husband. And her husband comes back and they pick her up out of the tub. Martin was doing CPR. And apparently this CPR wasn't like a frantic CPR, like, come on, don't leave me. You're my wife. I love you. It was just a, it was just 3, 2, but maybe it's just like how doctors do it. Then Martin says, I told you not to get that facelift. I told you not to do it. And it's like, now it's her fault that she is dead now. In the autopsy, well, unfortunately, Michelle passed away, and she passed away in the tub. As she was laying in there, she drowned, and because she was so heavily sedated, she couldn't help herself or whatever. Then from next door helped Martin get Michelle out of the tub. Martin calls Alexis and says, well, yeah, your mom is not breathing. She was in the tub. She's not breathing, but I called the ambulance and they are coming now. And so Alexis drives herself to the airport, and as she's driving, she's screaming and saying, I know he killed her. I know very well that he killed her. And she's screaming, she's crying, and she gets on the plane and she goes home. And when she gets home, the first thing that she wanted to look at were the pills. So she goes to the room and she looks for the pills just to see how much is left. And when she gets to the pills, there's nothing. Someone flushed the pills in the toilet, so no one can see what happened exactly. There's no evidence of any foul play. It just seems like Michelle passed away due to natural causes. So questions just raised, like, natural, she just turned 50, like, she's not old at all, she's still young, so she's very healthy. What is going on? And Martin says, okay, you know what, guys, the funeral is going to be this Saturday, which is 3 days after the death of Michelle. So the children are like, but why so early? Like, 3 days is not a long time. Can we just like have some time to mourn our mom before we bury her? Please. And Martin is adamant that, you know what, this funeral is taking place this Saturday. So before that, what people don't know is, what Martin doesn't know is that before Michelle passed away, she confided in Alexis and told Alexis to Google at this number, because this number keeps appearing on this phone bill. So like, who is this person that Martin is calling all the time? And so she Googles this number and she finds a lady named Gypsy Julian Willis. So who is this Gypsy Julian Willis? We don't know. And so now it's the morning of the funeral, and Martin said the sisters, Michelle's sisters, are not allowed to attend the funeral. If they do attend the funeral, he's going to escort them out. He's going to call security and they will escort them out. Imagine. Just imagine. How sad. Like, you can't even bury your sister. In the funeral, it was just literally just a few people. It was just literally just a few people. And in those few people was a dark-haired woman named Gypsy Julian Willis. So, anyways, now the funeral is ended. Michelle passed away. It's just a sad thing. So Alexis and Rachel think, okay, you know what? Let's help Dad with the kids. They had younger siblings that needed to be taken care of. So Rachel and Alexis think, you know what? Let's just go home. Let's help out with the children, because Dad is always at work. And so we just want to help out. And so they call their dad and they say, okay, Dad, we're going to come and help you out with the kids. And he says, there's no need. I've got the perfect nanny in mind. And Alexis and Rachel are like, what do you mean? Her name is and Alexis says, is it Gypsy Julian Willis? And he says, yeah, that's her. And Alexis says, you know what, Dad, no. There's no way she's coming into my mom's house, because my mom actually had suspicions that you were cheating on her with her. A week later, Michelle's death this woman moves in, and she wasn't even cleaning, she wasn't taking care of the kids, she wasn't the perfect nanny, she was nothing like that. Later on, a week later or something, Gypsy actually wanted Martin to go meet with her parents and her family, just to meet the family. That's where Martin actually proposed to Gypsy. Imagine, 3 months or 2 months after Michelle's death. How cruel. So Alexis and Rachel go on this digging spree where they are sure that something happened that day. And they go to the police, they go to the authorities, they go everywhere. Can you help us? My mom was actually murdered. This cannot be it. And everyone was just laughing it off and just saying, your mom passed away of natural causes. She had a heart attack. It's natural. And they didn't believe it. And so one day there was a police officer who actually, you know what, was like, okay, I'm intrigued by this. There must be something there. And so he started digging. He went as far back as Martin McNeil in college. And he found out the most bizarre thing ever. He found out that actually his medical license is fake. Number 2, he's not a doctor because he forged that degree. He forged it. So he's not a doctor. This person who all his life he's like, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a physician. He's actually not. So one day, Martin McNeil calls or texts Alexis and Rachel and says to them, these children that are in this house, meaning they are younger siblings, he is going to give them away to another family. He's already found a family that wants the kids and he's going to give them away. Imagine. Alexis and Rachel were not having it. They were saying, no ways am I going to allow that to happen. Those are my sisters. Those are my siblings. So I'm not going to allow that to happen. And with the one from Ukraine, whose name is, I forgot. It's not Michelle. I'll write her name down here. So let's call her Missy, because I really forgot her name. But Missy goes to the Ukraine. Martin McNeil said that Missy is actually going to the Ukraine for a visit, to just visit her old town and stuff like that. And so everyone just thought it was going to be a quick trip, 2-week trip, and she's coming back. And 2 weeks turn into 2 months, 2 months turn into a year. Her name is Giselle. That's right. So little do they know that Gypsy and Martin are actually taking Giselle's identity. They're using Giselle's identity, ID, everything to do other things. So now Gypsy Willis is actually Giselle McNeil. Wow. They took Giselle's identity, Giselle McNeil, and made it seem like Gypsy is the one that's Giselle McNeil. They went to court and they changed the birth of Jillian's birth date. So they did all of this to make it seem that Gypsy is actually married to McNeil, to Martin McNeil. So on their marriage certificate, the fake certificate, it was written April 14th, 2007, which is the date Michelle Summers' funeral was at. Actually, Michelle's sister found out that Giselle is still in the Ukraine, so she put plans in motion and she sent for her daughter to go fetch Giselle in the Ukraine. And so they took her back home, and now things are like weird because now there's two people with that ID number, there's two people with that name. And so what happens? So the police found out and they actually arrested Martin McNeil and Gypsy. So they took them, they arrested them, and they got sentenced for 4 years in prison. So when they were there, they're like, no man, 4 years, the family was like, 4 years is too little. And so that's when they got into digging more, and they found out that actually Martin was the one that killed his wife, because it just looked weird, because there were witnesses saying that Michelle was laying in this position and Martin was saying no, it was this position. And so they figured out that something went wrong, things didn't go right, and so he was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. 2 years after he was sentenced, he killed himself. Yeah, because he just thought, what is life? I don't have a life anymore. And yeah, so Martin McNeil died. He killed himself. So yeah, well, the two, Alexis and Rachel, I know that they're doing good. I don't know about the rest of the kids. They were never adopted. Yeah. So yeah, guys, that's it for my story today. I hope you guys liked the story. If you did like the story, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys on Friday for Friday Fiction. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.